Welcome to It All Boils Down to This, the podcast where father and son take the kitchen table arguments and heated discussions from their home directly to yours. Jim and Jack Boyle will explore the world as only they can. We might even let a few guests join the fun. So sit back, choose a side, watch the water temperature rise, and enjoy stimulating generational conversation about sports and life. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 9 of It All Boils Down to This. Like you said, I'm Jim Boyle, and I got my co-host, Jack Boyle. We've got a lot to talk about, Jack. It's been a very interesting week. I do know that we got our Kevin Call-in. We got a sponsor for that. We got our J. Trev blog post on best and worst in the NFL this week. But let's start with Major League Baseball because that's really fresh in the minds. I know you had some hot takes on that. I had Texas over Houston. I'm looking good on that. Philly's really hitting the hell out of the ball. What's your take?
Yeah, no, a tough place for the Astros to be down 2-0, but like they said, if you've seen the record on TV, they're better on the road, so it's not over till it's over. We'll see what happens in Game 3 and Game 4 and obviously Game 5. They still do it. It's 1-2. No, I know, but
yes.
They still 1-2 and then 3, 4, 5 are on the road,
yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then about the Phillies, it's starting to feel like it just might be their year. Like, they seem unstoppable right now. I mean, they got the two pitchers going like crazy. Even Suarez, right? Their third pitcher's going like crazy. And, I mean, they just hit home runs like every at-bat. Every time I put the game on, someone's hitting a home run or someone had just hit a home run. So I'm going to say right now, this is the first time I've been with the Astros since March. Phillies are going to win the World Series.
My take on the Phillies is last year against the Astros in the World Series, they came out guns a-blazing. Astros pitching did eventually shut them down.
They got no hit.
Yeah, I know. And then the second thing is in 2021, the Red Sox came out guns blazing against Astros, and the Astros shut them down. I'm still sticking with Texas. They were my pick originally.
I'd stick with them if I were you.
I got to stick. Yeah, you have to. And I think we'll see. Tomorrow night's big because if Scherzer comes out red hot and can throw 5 innings, that really benefits them because Montgomery and Eovaldi are just pitching lights out. And, my question to you before we talk Bryce Harper is, why can't we get pitchers like Nate Eovaldi?
I don't know. He was on our team, but yeah. You know what? I probably shouldn't abandon Houston because you just said Scherzer's pitching Game 3. He's going to get rocked. I have a feeling I remember we were driving home from Pennsylvania this year listening to Max Scherzer. This is before he was even hurt, and he kept giving up bombs to Tristan Cassis, and just so I'm not sold on him coming back and pitching in this series. So I do think it'll get to 2-1. The Astros do have a chance, but like I said, I mean, like we're talking about, we're going to go into Bryce Harper, and it's just, is it his time?
Oh, is it his time? You gave me crap last week about picking him in the 2023 All-Star team.
That wasn't a best player there. Yeah, obviously. It was based off the season he had.
Him and Jordan are really hitting the ton out of the ball right now.
But so is Castellanos, yeah.
Yeah, so I know you said you had a hot take. I got a hot take. I bet your mine's the same as yours. I know. First of all, I love Bryce Harper. He's a great baseball player. I think he's the most underrated superstar in the game. He gets paid a little less money than almost everybody else. You go with your hot take. It's probably going to be the same as mine, but I'd be interested to hear what your.
It's not really a take or a hot take. It's one thing. So the underrated thing. Well, let's go about that. He's not underrated anymore. He has been for the past 5, 6, 7 years one of the more underrated players. He is the past 2 postseasons, especially the one right now. He's getting a shine from everybody. I think Stephen A. Smith. He never talks baseball. They're talking about on First Take. They're talking about Bryce Harper,
yep.
And he is a good face for the game of baseball. He's more of a face for the game of baseball right now than Mookie is doing his podcast or whatever. Bryce Harper, perfect player. My thing with Bryce Harper. So Bryce Harper is one of these guys. We haven't had a prospect like him since he came in the league, right?
Right.
So the reason I think he was so underrated for so long is because he came in with all that expectation.
Correct.
And what happened, and it was unfortunate for him, he's going to be the best player of the generation. At the exact same time, this other guy came in the league, he was the player of the generation.
Yeah, that's my kind of
my take. And it kind of took away from what Harper was doing and how good of a player Harper is. Just because this guy who wasn't as hyped up as him came in at the exact same time and was always just better than Harper. So I think that kind of took away from how good Harper really is. Just because Mike Trout's the best player of the generation, it's not Harper. It would be like, say, LeBron wasn't as good as he was, but like in 2004, Dwight Howard came in and was just better than LeBron. Or in 2003, Carmelo was better than LeBron. Even though LeBron was good, it would have felt like he would have been underrated because he was this generational talent that got overtaken by this other guy.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all. My hot take is, and this is really where, Trout had a great first 8 years, and he's been on my fantasy team forever. But really, who is going to end up being the better player? I mean, is Bryce Harper? Now, Bryce Harper gets the opportunity to do it in the postseason like Derek Jeter did, as opposed to A-Rod and Nomar. But who in the end does Bryce Harper end up being better than Mike Trout? And that's the question that I think will be explored over the course of the years. And like I said, I love Trout and I love Harper. I think Harper just brings a completely different attitude and into the mix. He is just kind of like, how can you not love this guy on your team? So I'm going to almost go with Mike Trout's numbers are superior right now to Bryce Harper's because he had those great first 8 years. But over the next 4 or 5 years, I'd take Harper over Trout every day of the week.
Well, yeah, it's going to be obviously going forward. If you were to give me the rest of their careers, obviously I'm taking Harper. But if we're picking at the start, they're both 20 years old or 19 years old, and you're starting a franchise with one of these. Even after it's all said and done, it's going to be hard to not say Trout just because of how good the 6, 7, 8 years Trout did have. And again, Harper's numbers at the end might look better at the end of the day. But again, Mike Trout is, at the end of the day, he's the best player of his generation.
So the question, and we'll finish baseball here. The question is, if Trout never does anything else, and he might over the next couple of years, he never played in the postseason, so he's sort of like he's like the Ted Williams of his generation. Williams played in the World Series once, never in the postseason. DiMaggio was always in the postseason. Mickey Mantle always in the postseason. Ted Williams was the best player of his generation offensively. Does Trout end up being sort of like that, where some other guys, especially the flashier Harper and like
Betts,
does he end up like that?
Even though he stinks in the postseason most of the time, but who he ends up like, yeah, that's Ted Williams. I would hate to end up having a career like Ted Williams. Sure, yeah, that's exactly. He can end up like that.
I don't know if he's going to have a career like Ted did. The thing in
baseball, unlike any other sport, baseball, you're not held to that standard in championships. Nobody cares. Unless you're like, maybe for a pitcher, it's like, how'd you pitch in the postseason? Like, Kershaw's going to get held to that, how he pitched in the postseason. But, like, if you're Mike Trout, not winning the World Series doesn't get held against you. Even if Harper never ends up winning one, they don't win this postseason, it's not going to get held against them.
Yeah, but I think, though, in some cases, Yankee fans always say the postseason counts because they won so many. But you're right. An individual baseball player isn't going to drive a team to a championship or even the playoffs. And we've seen that with Trout and Ohtani. They're the two of the best 10 players in baseball, and they didn't make the championship. Whereas in basketball, we're going to do this later on in the show, the top 10 guys, those guys can drive you to the championship.
You have so much of more of an impact on the game in the basketball sport. We'll go over that
We'll get to there. So that's baseball. You like the Phillies and who? You stuck with the Astros?
Yeah, I'll stick. Like I said, you know what? If I stick with the Astros, though, when they get through the series, I have to stick with the Astros. So disregard me saying the Phillies, or that's me. That's a cop-out by me. I'll ride with the Astros. Let's ride.
Okay, and I'm riding with the Rangers, and I have nobody in the National League left anyway, so... I think the Phillies, I think somewhere, like somebody's going to come, Earl Kelly or some crazy is going to shut them down. And once you start shutting them down, you got to, I think the Phillies, their approach is, let's just go out and whack at the ball. There's just really the approach, swinging at first pitches, knowing they're going to first pitch fastball, first pitch strike. So they've been very successful, but Houston shut them down last year. And I don't foresee them continuing this. Castellanos is not going to hit 2 home runs a game or 3 home runs a game for the next 3 games in a series.
I get that, but like Schwarber and Harper, Schwarber obviously jumped on the first pitch last night because, just whatever. But Schwarber and Harper, they'll grind out at bats. They get guys on that team who will grind out at bats. It's not like they're the Braves. You see, when the Braves played the Phillies, they were swinging at everything. It felt like no one was grinding out at bats.
But we talk about the lineup. I mean, once you get... They get Alex Bohm. You got to be kidding me. And even Realmuto's not. It's just weird. They're just... First of all,
those are good players.
They're good players, but
you're not going to have 9 All-Stars on.
Alex Baum is not. Alex Baum is not. He's good, but give me a break.
Who's the 9-hitter on Texas? Who's the 9-hitter on Houston? I think Maldonado. There's terrible players in every team.
What's the 9-hitter is the other?
We got to stop talking about baseball. Kevin's going to get mad at us. Let's get on to. We got to get on to Kevin's phone call. So this week we're going to go on. He's really gone full heel on the college football. He's our college football guy. This phone call we're going to have sponsored by Leone's Pizza in Somerville, Mass. Get your good Sicilian slice for a real good price.
Oh my God, Leone's Pizza is a new sponsor of Kevin's calling, right?
I think the O'Donnells or whatever his mother's maiden name, they've been going there for more than a generation. So here's
so Lisa O'Donnell's been going there. All right,
I could be wrong. It could be Tom. We don't know.
Let's go. No, Tom's from Braintree. Forget it.
Yeah. So I think it is Lisa. Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
This week, gonna stick to just college football because Jimbo seemed a little upset that I was going beyond my range, talking about other stuff. So just going to keep it to college football this week. I apologize, Jimbo. Want to just note, I bet minus 29.5 Colorado live during the game when it was 22-0. They choked. They gave up 3 touchdowns in 2 seconds in the second half. Their corners forgot how to play football. One of the crazier chokes ever.
So first thing, that Colorado... You don't know that Colorado game. So that Colorado game, that's one of the more stunning losses ever. And I guess I know I'm going to get accused. I always want to talk about Deion. I always want to talk about Tom Brady.
Deion lover.
I always talk about Liverpool. I always talk about the things I hate. But that's part of the sports. I like hating. Deion's growing on me. That's my hot take.
Deion is growing on you.
So I
got to hear this. Why is Deion growing on you?
I think he's handled this kind of losing a little bit well. He had a good speech. Now, obviously, you blow a 29-0 lead. You're not the coaches, and totally has no responsibility for that. The coach is probably majorly responsible for that. Probably takes more than 50% of the blame. But he really, was upset his players, and he told his players in the locker room, all that love you were getting, it's going to be hate now. And guess what? You guys deserve it. I don't want to see you on social media going back at people, blah, blah, blah. But like all that love, wow, it's over. And we got to start focusing and get back to earth. And then he ended it. He's like, "We're practicing tomorrow, guys." Yeah. And they probably don't normally practice the day after the game. But I don't know. I think he's handled it well. It's his kid. It's the quarterback there that really just rubs me the wrong way. And somehow someone posted something off his account trying to sell something at halftime. I just hope, because at the start of the year it was so crazy. Offset's performing in the locker room, and Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and everyone's at their games. Just come back to earth and let's see if they can do something next year.
So the easy takeaway for me here is that Kevin bet them minus 29.5 at halftime, and he ended up losing the bet.
Obviously he lost the bet. He lost the bet by 35.5 points. 35.5 points he lost the bet.
Remind me not to go to... I know he had a pretty good rest of the night, the Saturday, because he'll probably brag about that, but Kevin, come on. That was a bad one.
Well, it's a good... Don't live bet. Just don't live bet.
That's true.
All right, here's more Kevin.
Yeah, other stuff going on in college football. Washington, Oregon. Penix in the driver's seat for the Heisman now. Don't be surprised if Oregon beats them in the Pac-12 championship game after running the table and gets into the playoff, though. I really like Oregon. And I also think that USC is going to lose Pac-12 games, and that is what will allow Oregon to get back in. So USC, they stink. Not surprised by their loss against Notre Dame. Notre Dame also didn't have any pressure on them, which helped because Notre Dame always chokes when it counts.
Yes, that is true. Notre Dame always, whenever it's a big game at Notre Dame, if Notre Dame was undefeated, they would have found a way to lose that game to USC.
I don't know.
USC, you're right.
USC was not good. I mean, that quarterback, first time I've really watched him, and a good defense stopped him. It's simple. Got stopped by a good defense.
So here's the thing about USC's coming into the Big Ten. Are they going to be able to win Big Ten? Because Notre Dame's almost kind of they're like a Big Ten team this year. Are they going to that offense when they're flying around, running? Are they going to really be able to come in and Michigan and Ohio State and Penn State and win games there?
Yeah, I think that was I don't know. That was maybe an anomaly. I think you just recruit a little different. I think that bringing UCLA, Oregon, Washington, and our good friends from UCLA, and you'll start to recruit a little bit differently. But every team goes through ups and downs, and I'm not a big fan of their coach anyway. Lincoln Riley is crazy, and everybody overhyped. You talk about overhyping a quarterback. That quarterback got overhyped. But Notre Dame,
anytime you put pressure on a quarterback,
right? Notre Dame did a great job. So
I wouldn't say the quarterback's super overhyped. And then you shook your head.
He's the most overhyped quarterback in the world. He was the Heisman. He's going to win it again.
No, he's not. You shook your head when he said the Penix guy for Washington's now the Heisman frontrunner. Who's your Heisman frontrunner then? Why would it not be him?
You don't know
because he is.
We're 6 weeks into the season.
But there has to be a frontrunner. There's a frontrunner. What's the point of talking about?
The frontrunner is probably still a kid from USC.
Not even close. He just threw 3 interceptions and lost.
Yeah, we'll see.
Penix is undefeated, and I do like Kevin saying Oregon. I do think Oregon's very much still in this. Because USC is obviously going to lose and just run the table, and they can beat Washington.
I will confess, I have not done a lot of research on who the front runner of the Heisman is.
Yeah, so why are you shaking your head?
Because I think Kevin always shoots his mouth off. Because Kevin is, he's my college football expert. All of a sudden now, after he gets a big win, and then he says Oregon's going to run the table.
I'm going to stand up for Kevin here. Can you please? You have Wi-Fi. I don't. Please. It'll take a minute.
No, I'm not.
Look up, please, or give me the computer then.
No, go.
Look, please, right now. Do it.
What am I looking up? Keep going.
2023 college football Heisman odds right now. Please.
All right, we're looking
So I'm going to guess if Michael Penix is first, you have to apologize to Kevin. Is that do you agree?
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Which odds do you want me to take? Miami Herald?
whatever.
6 days ago?
No, 6 days ago might be 6 days ago is too long.
2023
has to be like a day ago.
Vegas Insider. There
it'll be right. You can get it right now. All right, let's see.
Oh, Michael Pennick is now tied with J.J. McCarthy.
For first?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Dylan Gabriel. God almighty, Dylan Gabriel, J.J. McCarthy, Jordan Travis, Jaden Daniels.
Good players.
Drake May is going to win it. Bo Nix. Caleb, okay,
I
don't know. That's so
whatever.
Wide
just
open.
say Kevin was right. You were wrong.
Okay, Kevin was almost right.
All right.
I was right because Kevin had it right. But
Kevin had a good week. Now we're going to get more into Kevin's gambling.
Let's go to Kevin.
Okay, on to the gambling stuff. There's a lot of haters. There's a lot of doubters. But I went 9-4-1. Never in doubt. I trusted my gut this week. No outside influence. Really proud of my performance.
Okay, get on with it, Kevin.
I said Devontae Walker's back and reinstated. And what did he do? 132 yards and 3 touchdowns against Mario Cristobal. It was a beautiful thing to see. It was excellent. And I also, when I sent out my card, and I didn't notice this because I would have given out 2 mortal locks last week if I saw this. LSU minus 11.5 against Auburn was such an easy pick. It was ridiculous. Auburn is a horrible football team. And that goes to my lock, which I'll cover in just a second. We'll go over my losses because I hold myself accountable. Washington State minus 7.5 against Arizona was horrible. They lost 44-6, which is just shocking. Okay, now to the lock of the week. I wanted to do an Ohio State, Penn State pick, but I don't know enough about Penn State. I'm probably going to pick Penn State, but I don't want to give it as a lock. I also am noting that I don't know, as of now, if Riley Leonard from Duke is going to be able to play this weekend against Florida State. If I knew it, I would potentially put it as a lock, but I'm not going to.
No, Kevin, make up your
just
mind.
Noting that it's tough to give out a lock when it's the Sunday before the Saturday games 6 days later.
Oh, my God, Kevin, call him. I'm going to sleep.
I will also be potentially picking Tennessee against Bama. I really like that. I'm not giving it as a lock. All right. So I said Auburn stinks. They're horrible. I feel bad because my roommate is an Auburn fan. My Xavier roommate from back in the day, he's an Auburn fan. So I feel bad with this one. But they just got curb stomped at LSU. I mean, it wasn't even close. I am picking Ole Miss minus 5.5 on the road against Auburn. It's under the lights in Auburn, which I'm a little concerned about. But I just think Ole Miss are like 10 times the team Auburn is. Ole Miss is coming off of a bye. They're going to be well rested. So I feel good. I feel really good about this one. So hold me accountable again this week.
We will.
Right, see you guys. Bye.
Yeah, we got to get that on the computer because my arm's getting sore holding that up
First of all, I'm going to thank Kevin for calling in. It's great to have you. I know we make fun of you every once in a while, but that's what this is all about. Having fun with you. So Kevin's lock of the week is Ole Miss minus 5.5 at Auburn at night.
Yeah, so Auburn, one of the teams Auburn actually covered against this year is UMass.
Yeah.
Everyone covers against UMass now.
I would think my lock of the week is anybody playing UMass or anybody playing Temple is going to be the lock of the week.
Yeah, no, Kevin did have a good pick, and we got to talk about his lock of the week last week, which was UNC. You know, Miami coming off that horrible loss, and USC dominated them. Mm-hmm. And that Tez Walker guy was back healthy, and Kevin did mention him, and he had 3 touchdowns, was all over the place. It was every time. I was watching the game with him, and he just kept scoring touchdown after touchdown. And Kevin, I think it was 9-4-1 on the week. So
congratulations.
After going 4-8, to go 9-4-1.
Yeah, congratulations. You know that. Let's go just real quick. That Carolina game I was watching. Miami they just died. I mean, death. All of a sudden they quit. It's like they quit. Their quarterback was absolute trash. May had a really good opportunity, and then Walker. I don't know that whole Des shit. I don't know. It's North Carolina can do whatever they goddamn want, and it pissed me off. But I give credit to Kevin; he did a great job because they get everything to they cheat, and then North Carolina.
Oh yeah,
they cheat, and Austin Peay gets put on suspension.
They cheat in basketball
and football. They cheat everywhere.
Well, you know their coaches in football. He's a big time cheater. Right?
Yeah,
Mac Brown.
Yeah, you know what's funny about Mac? Your mom asked me. Kelly goes, "God, he looks old." I said, "Yeah, he is old. He's actually older than me." But because he came back he was at Texas, he went to ESPN for 8 years. So let's go with his pick of the week is Auburn minus 5.5. You told me to give a pick of the week. I'm going to let you go first.
You want me to go first?
You go first.
All right, so my pick of the week, like I said, they're my team this year. Penn State plus 4 at Ohio State. Shit. I think they're going to win outright, but I'll take the points plus 4. Yeah, that's my pick. So you don't have to give him more to lock. If that's your pick,
I was going to go Penn State. I think Penn State is going to destroy them.
I do too.
And I think the Penn State Michigan game is for a chance to play in the tournament.
Yeah, we better not be wrong here.
Well, we're going to be because we're from Pennsylvania. That's what happens when you're from PA. No, I think I agree. I knew we were going to go the same. We were in the car coming over or coming from school, and I said he's going to pick Penn State, but I got to go. I just think it's time. We're going to see what Ohio State's made of. Simple as that. Penn State, but then Franklin will find a way to choke. But I like Penn State. But it is Penn State minus 4.5 on the road, right?
Yeah, I thought I had it at 4, but 4.5, sure.
And then Michigan's at home, so that'll be the white.
It's not Penn State plus 4.5.
Plus 4.5, right? Yeah. And then I thought it was minus.
Penn State is not favored at Ohio State.
That's what I figured. I saw it wrong. So yeah, I'll take Penn State all the way. No problem with that.
Yep, and that's what I'm going with. And Kevin said he liked that too, just didn't know enough about the team, so he will have that in his card too. So we're all going together this week with Penn State. We're all going with Penn State.
All right. So again, Jack, why don't you tell us Penn State, our locks of the week and all that fun stuff is sponsored by whom? Thanks, Kevin O'Donnell. Sponsored by what?
Leone's Pizza in Somerville, Mass. Go check it out.
There you go. Kevin's mom, Lisa, and their family. That was a favorite thing forever and ever for pizza. So our next segment. Which is always fun to do, is we got an NFL blog from Justin Trevisani, and he's wrote a book for us today. And again, is Justin giving us?
We're timing around. We got to go through the games first. We got to go through the games.
Oh, you want to do the games
we
first?
Start. Obviously, you got the games pulled up.
Yeah, I got the games.
You're hosting the show. Yeah, come on.
I told you get to host next time. Then
fine.
We're going to do the games and then Justin. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's go Broncos.
Let's start. No, we got to start. Let's start with the Patriots again.
I don't want to talk about the Patriots. That just garbage.
Can we talk offensive coordinator?
Okay.
So again,
no. Let me say one thing about the Patriots. Is it Parker? Who's the receiver who dropped the ball?
Yeah,
he's got to catch the football.
Yeah.
That hit my fingertips. You look at the review, right in the goddamn hands.
Yeah, I'd cut him right now after the way he took no accountability for that. I saw Devontae Smith of the Eagles dropped a pass or something, and he was after the game just being like, "Yeah, I got to catch it. My fault. Got to catch it." Just took accountability. All Parker had to do is say, I got to catch that. I got to be better. I messed up. That's on me. Blah, blah, blah.
No, he didn't do that.
And he didn't do that. And he's useless. And then another guy that's useless because Mac Jones stinks, but they're so bad. It's not just the quarterback. They might be the worst offensive team in the history of the NFL. Yeah. At least the worst since the Deshaun Kaiser Browns team a couple years ago that I don't think won a game.
So
Juju Smith-Schuster, he didn't. Did he play? He didn't catch a pass. I don't know if he played.
And Stevenson's been terrible.
It's like he forgot how to run. He runs into people. He's horrible. The right, I should know his name, but the right tackle at the end of the game. You watch the safety at the end of the game. He didn't even it was one of the worst attempts at blocking I've ever seen. The dude who was going up for the check down fell. So they're just a mess. They're a real mess. And just
I agree. And the more I look at it, is Bill's gone. Okay.
No.
Oh, he's gone.
Okay.
Gone. He'll leave on his own. He'll say, I don't need this shit from these people who I gave 6 championships to. He'll find a place to land. He's going. Chiefs-Broncos, really horrible Thursday night game. Nothing to say about that.
I don't even remember that game. Yeah, the Chiefs just keep on rolling on. Real good defense.
Yeah, great defense. They got to really adjust their offense, though.
I know, but if you have Patrick Mahomes and you have a defense like that,
okay,
watch out.
The game over in London, Ravens 24, Titans 16. Didn't watch it.
24-16. Who cares? They keep playing in London. I'm sick of these London games.
They're over.
They're going to Berlin. There's a big. Did the Chiefs play the Dolphins in Berlin?
They might. I don't know.
And that's a great game. It's Berlin.
Hey, that's how you sell the NFL. You make your money that way.
Yeah. Okay.
Commanders Falcons, the meaningless game of the week. Commanders 24, Falcons 16.
Falcons are a good team. Their quarterback stinks. Try and go get Kirk Cousins. I don't know if he wants to move there, though.
He's not going.
Julian Edelman, I saw pregame, said that his wife is from there or something. I could be wrong.
Cousins
I could be wrong, Julian.
That's Desmond Ridder, right? It's quarterback.
Yeah, he stinks. But the Falcons are a pretty good team. They're a good roster.
Desmond, Vikings, and this is back to Cousins. Vikings, Bears 19-13, and what's his name got hurt. The Bears are 1-5, just about as bad as the Patriots. And Cousins has said he doesn't want to get moved. So Vikings, Bears. Vikings are 2-4. Bears 1-5. That division sucks.
Yeah, irrelevant game.
Sucks. Seahawks, Bengals 17-13. Bengals win. Seahawks choked a little bit at the end.
Seahawks are a good team, so that's a good win by the Bengals. Bengals, I don't know. You can't judge Burrow until week 4 or 5 every year. So they look like they're back.
I know the other thing. We talked about doing our top 5, and we're going to do the top 5 NFL teams. Bengals are sneaking up on people. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, they're not there yet. But
there, but they're sneaking up at 3-3. Big game. Am I allowed to talk to Bears 49ers? We're allowed to do that one. Browns 49ers.
Yeah, of course. Go.
Browns 49ers again. PJ Walker, Temple Al. It didn't play the greatest.
Yeah, you weren't watching the game.
We were. I watched it. We were out to eat with Tommy.
Oh,
Tommy and Lisa. We saw it on the big screen.
He was like trying to lose the game. He didn't slide. He almost threw an interception at the end.
He did win though. They won on a missed field goals. 49ers, like I said last week, I still think you take those weapons away from Purdy, and he's an average or below average quarterback. Purdy is Mac Jones with weapons.
Yeah, with every quarterback though, you look at Mahomes' weapons this year, and their offense doesn't look that good either. You need weapons in the NFL right now. You need speed.
And again, if the Niners get everybody healthy, they're a tough team. Panthers, Dolphins. Why even bother? 42-21.
Well, speaking of speed, Dolphins. Look at that team. Best offense maybe we've ever seen. So Patriots could be the worst offense we've ever seen, and the Dolphins have a chance of being the best offense we've ever seen.
And the Bills, with half their team hurt, shut them down.
Buffalo. Yeah, but it's the NFL. You have an off week here and there.
Next game, Colts Jags. Colts 3-3, Jags 4-2. Jags with 37-20. Gardner Minshew has to quarterback the rest of the year for the Colts.
Yeah, Jags just have to keep on winning. It's a shame that Richardson's hurt, but that's kind of always going to be the thing with him. He's going to get hurt all the time, I feel like. I mean, he might be a good
way he
plays.
I agree with him. But I think that as we get ready, the Jags are getting ready to put in the top. He's between 5 and 10. They're getting ready to go over the top. Their defense is playing really well. Saints Texans. Here's the surprise team of the year. The Texans are win the game 20-13 to go to 3-3. And again, what can be said that maybe everybody picked the wrong quarterback. The Ohio State quarterback's playing pretty well there.
That just proves how bad the Pats are. They got killed by the Saints. They got killed.
That's true.
Put in Jameis.
That's true. We talked about the Raiders, Patriots, Rams, Cardinals. Another game that was kind of meaningless, but the Rams are now 3-3. They got a good quarterback. Cooper Kupp's starting to get some receiving yards. They got a really good coach. They could sneak in somewhere and be trouble for somebody. Cardinals are absolutely awful.
Yeah, the Rams are average to good.
Yeah, they're average to good.
And the Cardinals aren't good.
And then we'll skip the next game. We're going to talk about that later. Lions, Buccaneers. Lions 20-6. Lions might be legit. Yeah,
I know. I've said that. I said that last week. I kind of, after the first game when they beat the Chiefs, even though they should have lost, I said that the Lions, hey, they could actually be pretty good this year.
Yeah, and they're 5-1, 3-0 away. Bucs aren't a bad football team. They don't have no offense, though. Giants, Bills. Bills won 14-9. That was maybe the worst football game that was ever played in the history of football games this year.
Yeah, and Brian Daboll just loves showing up as quarterback and making sure everyone knows that he's not at fault. It's his quarterback's fault.
I know. He didn't even
just do that in the locker room.
Tyrod Taylor quarterback that game for them. So,
well, yeah, that's who he was yelling at.
And then, are we doing the Cowboys-Chargers, or is Justin taking
No, so is that all the games? So
you're going to give me the Eagles and the Jets and the Cowboys and Chargers from Mr. Trevisani?
Well, no, they're gonna fall, and you didn't have to spoil that or anything. But,
well, I haven't talked those two games. Go.
Yeah, no, because everyone was keeping in the minds which games you didn't talk about. So his team of the week. You probably can't even guess from the teams that are left. There are 4 teams left.
Jets.
Jets, Jets. You read it, so that's
I know I cheated. Justin, great job. I cheated.
Yeah. So Jets, Jets. How about the fighting Zach Wilson's getting back to 3-3 after week 6? For all the criticism he has gotten in the past, and deservedly so, we have to acknowledge how much better he has looked the past 3 weeks. Wilson didn't exactly set himself a high bar, but now he is learning to limit his mistakes and make some high-level plays that a number 2 overall pick should make. Wilson isn't lighting the world on fire either, and the defense is largely responsible for this resurgence, but Wilson does deserve some credit for putting his team in a position to win. So does Robert Saleh, who has his guys playing extremely hard and his defense well prepared. The Jets have played a tough gauntlet to open their season and have dealt with the adversity of the Aaron Rodgers injury. To be 3-3 right now after a grim outlook just a couple of weeks ago is a massive success. Their defense has some legit dudes. They have one of the deepest front sevens in football, and that showed on Sunday when they continued getting after Jalen Hurts and the Eagles' vaunted offensive line play after play. The Eagles don't typically beat themselves, but the Jets were able to force 4 turnovers, and that was the key to win.
Yeah, I think the key to win was Lane Johnson went out early in that game, and Hurts was. I wrote down the Jets' defense is legit. We talk about a couple of defenses; they're legit, and I tell you, the Saleh's done a great job. Wilson's not a great quarterback, but again, if you don't make mistakes, you're going to beat teams in the NFL. And the Eagles, I remember the Jalen Hurts versus Joe Burrow battle. If I had to put that tape up, from this weekend, I would lose 100 times out of 100. He was absolutely horrible. He's been horrible for 3 weeks now. I still have them ranked really high in our rankings when we get to that point, but they got to improve. They're just not playing well offensively. They're eminently beatable. And they have a big game coming to the Cowboys in a couple weeks. We'll see what happens. But I go give the Jets credit. and J. Trev's absolutely right. Worst team of the week?
Let me just say, you almost feel bad for the Jets fans because this year is always going to be the what if year. Because if they had Aaron Rodgers, they could be the best team in football. Really, honestly,
because of their defense,
they definitely could be the best team in football. So J. Trev's a bad team of the week, or worst team of the week, or worst guy of the week. It's actually worst team. Things must change fast, or Brandon Staley is going to be looking for new work real soon. The Chargers are now 2-3 after their loss to the Cowboys on Monday night, and this was supposed to be the season Herbert and the Bolts took a massive step forward in their position within the AFC. In a vacuum, losing to the Cowboys by a field goal isn't an unexpected result. The Cowboys have talent everywhere and were favored in this one, but when you consider the Chargers were coming off their bye, the Cowboys are dealing with some key injuries and were just humiliated in their last game, and the Chargers were at home with one of their best players in Eckler returning, it was a game they had to have. Herbert didn't look like himself and missed plenty of throws that could have gone for big gains. That won't happen most weeks, and the Chargers won't play many more talented teams than the Cowboys. But this was an evenly matched game that at the end of the day seemed like the Cowboys wanted it a little bit more. And that falls on the head coach. Once again, Staley stopped positive momentum for his team by going for it on 4th down from the 7-yard line on the first drive of the second half rather than taking the field goal to tie the game. It's become reckless.
I think that, and I like the Staley guy as a human being. He always says the right thing, but J. Trev might be right here. They lose so many tight games, and and again, we go back to coaching. The quarterback's pretty good, but something's wrong there, and they should be better than that. They would be a Super Bowl team almost if they could just win the close games. But so I agree with J. Trev 100%. The Cowboys, on the other hand, they're the Dow Jones team of all Dow Jones teams with our friend Dak Prescott. So who the hell knows what's going to come out next week for them?
Well, J. Trev likes their roster, so they're going to win games with that roster alone.
Yeah.
And the Chargers. What about Bill Belichick to the Chargers?
I don't know if he goes out to L.A. There's a good quarterback there. Maybe. But who owns the Chargers? Kevin's boy, right? No, that's the Rams.
No,
Kroenke owns the Rams.
No, that's
okay,
the Rams. I don't know. I was about the Chargers. I've never heard of the Chargers.
Okay, I forgot.
All right.
Rams, go. What's next?
The J. Trev Player of the Week, sponsored this week by the Brown Jug in Chelsea, Mass., is going to Tyreek Hill. He had 6 catches for 163 yards and a touchdown, good for 27 yards a catch. Not too shabby. Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase are right up there with Hill as the best receivers in the league, but no one instills more fear in defenses than Tyreek does. That speed is insanely hard to prepare for during the week, and the way McDaniels uses motions and shifts and aligns Hill in different parts of the formation keeps the defense guessing every snap. Before the season, Hill mentioned his individual goal for the season was reaching 2,000 yards. Well, after 6 weeks, he has 814, putting him on pace for more than 2,300. That touchdown celebration he had grabbing the phone and recording the bat flip was cool as hell, too.
Hey, one question for you, and I agree. Miami speed is great. They're great receivers. Did the Chiefs make a mistake letting Tyreek go?
I was going to bring that up. So the Chiefs owners have to kind of take a hit for that for being cheap, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's no way they could have. I don't know how the NFL salary cap, whatever works. There's no way they couldn't have found a way to get him signed and keep him on that team.
That's my question. Good answer.
Because if you have him and taking he like J. Trev says, he's the best receiver in the league in terms of affecting the way the other team plays.
Correct. And I think the Chiefs made a mistake. Now, I know they won a Super Bowl when they moved him off, right? So they did win. So but overall, and the lifespan might be short, but boy, oh boy, he's having a great year down there. And I'll give McDaniels, is it McDaniels down there?
Yeah.
I give Mike, not the other guy, the idiot. I'll give him a lot of credit for it. He put his offense together to utilize their speed, him and Waddle, whatever they have on the outside. They're tough. They were hard to rank for me this week, by the way, when we do a top 5. So we got Tyreek Hill. I can't wait to hear the worst player.
And the other thing is, I don't think anyone has had 2,000 receiving yards in a season in the history of the NFL. So he would be the first one to do that. Yeah. So the worst player of the week was, and you mentioned him a little bit earlier, Jalen Hurts was downright bad on Sunday, and it cost the Eagles the win. If he was able to take care of the ball like we have come to expect him to, the Eagles likely win that game comfortably by a touchdown. The Jets' defense deserves tons of credit for balling out like they did and making life difficult for Hurts, but it was surprising to see Hurts make some of those boneheaded decisions. I personally thought the most impressive part of Jalen's 2022 season was his ability to take care of the ball and seemingly always make the right read, especially in the clutch situations. He had 1 turnover in the fourth quarter of games last season. 1 turnover in the fourth quarter last year. 1. through this year, through 6 games, he already has 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter. For whatever reasons, he seems more sped up, often throwing off his back foot and not reacting to pressure as well as he has in the past. Maybe he is still getting used to the new offensive coordinator Brian Johnson's play calling, or maybe his supporting cast isn't playing as well as last season, but Hurts needs to step up. Even in the 5-0 start, Hurts turned it over 5 times, and the Eagles were lucky to win a few of those games.
Well, I got to say this. Their coach is an idiot.
Yeah, I don't like him.
They had a third down, right? They had a third down, and they were in the lead. All he has to do is run the ball, kick it, and make Mac Wilson beat you, right?
Who?
Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Mac Jones from Zach Wilson. They're all screwing me out. They can beat you, and he throws that interception. The guy almost turns for a touchdown. I don't know. I'm starting to lose. You know, I need Sirianni's taken him to the Super Bowl once, but God, you can't make those mistakes. That's like a Cristobal level mistake. And Hurts try to make the throw. But I was on the phone with my dad and my uncle were watching the game at home. And I said to him, Dad, you cannot make that mistake. Why throw there? Run the football, let the 2-minute warning come, and go. But Hurts was terrible. And I will say right now, Jack, you were winning that Burrow thing because I think Burrow's.
Thanks for telling me. I didn't know that.
Oh, shut the hell up. Burrow's coming back from his injury, but it'll change when Hurts wins the Super Bowl. So J-Trev is sponsored by the Brown Jug.
Brown Jug,
Chelsea, Mass. We've been there with Tommy and Lisa and J-Trev.
Yeah, they love it there. Yep.
They do love it there. So shout out to the Brown Jug. Shout out to J-Trev. And by the way, only one player has had more than 2,000-yard receiving yard season, and that includes the postseason for Cooper Kupp. Nobody else has that done.
Doesn't count. No.
So that's what we have for that piece. And then finally, now we're done with NFL, except for now. You had asked me, and I don't know if J-Trev gave us.
Yeah, I got J-Trev's.
So we have the top 5. Each of us is going to give a top 5. Why don't we go with J-Trev first?
Yeah, you go first.
I get to go first?
Yeah, I'll go you.
Okay, I'm going to go me.
I just went first.
I'm going to go with a little bit of controversy here for me. 49ers number 1, but okay. I still think they'll be fine. They got the Chiefs. Chiefs really come up their edge. I think Mahomes will be able to pull it out, but I worry about them getting hurt. And with anybody on, if Kelsey gets hurt, they're done. You know, that's simple. I got Chiefs 2. I got the Eagles 3, even though I'm really, that's a hard one because I'm not happy with their coach. The Lions, I think, are about to jump the Eagles to the first spot. I'm going to give them at 4. And I'm going to take Miami over Buffalo at 5 because I think Buffalo's injuries on the defensive end. So the top 5 are 49ers, Chiefs, Eagles, Lions, and Miami. Coming up the rear end of there would be the Bills, Cowboys, Browns, Ravens, and Jaguars. That's my top 5.
All right, so J-Trev has Niners 1. After last week, he still got them there. I mean, they've been impressive to start the year. He's got Chiefs 2, Bills 3, Eagles 4, Lions 5.
So he's got the Bills higher than I have.
His surprise one is he does not have the Dolphins in here. So he doesn't.
Yeah, which is funny because he just bragged about his story Tyreek Hill. So I don't know.
Yeah. No,
I think though that's good. We all have the same. He's got the Bills and not Miami. I got Miami, not the Bills. Right? All right. So I got the Niners, Chiefs, Eagles, Lions. He's got the Niners, Chiefs, Bills, Lions, Eagles, or Eagles,
Niners,
Lions?
Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Lions for J-Trev.
And I think the Eagles, like I said, that's good. The Eagles are falling fast in my book. Okay, so now we get to go to you.
So at number 1, I have to have the Chiefs. I mean, if the Niners had won, I would have. If he'd hit the field goal, I would have just put the Niners number 1. But they missed and they lost, and that's a really bad loss. I'll have
a bad loss.
I'll have the Chiefs number 1 because just the way their defense is playing and Mahomes. So
I don't disagree.
That's my number 1. Number 2, J-Trev don't even have him on his top 5. The Dolphins impressed me. That offense, it's really going to be hard to stop at any time. So, especially if hopefully for their sake, they win the division. And if they end up playing a Buffalo or Kansas City, maybe they can get that at home, where their offense might struggle in a Kansas City or a Cincinnati.
Well, they would get Buffalo at home.
What?
If they win the division, they get Buffalo.
Yeah, but if Buffalo wins the division. So 3, I'm going to put the Niners. They're still a good team, but I did have them drop down 2 spots after that loss, and I'm more impressed with the Dolphins than them.
Let me guess Lions 4.
4, I got the Lions.
Yeah.
I really like the Lions. Really like what I'm seeing from the Lions. Then 5, I do have the Bills. I still trust the Bills. They are, you talk about, you love using the Dow Jones. They're more of a Dow, because screw the Cowboys are irrelevant at this point. They're not going to win anything with Dak. A real Dow Joneser is Josh Allen and the whole Bills team. You don't know what Bills team you're going to get week in, week out.
That's true.
But I still think they're a top 5 team.
I agree there. So that's good. So I got Niners, Chiefs, Eagles, Lions, Miami. You got the Chiefs, Miami, Niners, Lions, Eagles.
No,
right?
Bills. I don't have the Eagles.
Oh, no, you don't have the Eagles.
Chiefs, Dolphins, Niners, Lions,
I got
Bills.
you. I missed that. All right, so that's our saying. We'll keep looking at that as we go on. Eagles, like I said, somebody's going to drop off of there. I I think the Browns, you had picked the Browns earlier. Their defense is really superb, so it'll be tough to move off.
Best in the league.
So, again, thanks to Jay Trev for his contribution every week. We're going to try to get Jay Trev to start that as a blog post. I know he wants to become an NFL scout. At some point, I want to bring him into the show and have him talk about what are you really looking for, what are you scouting for in a college player for the pros and a high school player for the college level, because he's down there at Harvard helping to recruit the kids. And again, those kids are different because they have to be smart. So, again, thanks to Jay Trev. And now we go on to something that was really interesting, came out, and we'll do the NBA is we're going to do a top 10 of the 23 players. I had a group of about 12 or 15 high school kids that were filtering through my classes this week to fill out who they thought were their top 10, and Jack collated that, and Jack and I both have our own top 10. But before we go there, let's just do a quick NBA Celtics. They're starting. They're ready to go. Porzingis seems to fit in almost perfectly. Will they lose a little bit with Williams being out of there defensively? Where do you see the Celtics in the NBA world, and who's going to be their number one competitors in the East and overall?
Number one competitor is the Bucks. Championship or bust. I mean, that's all there is to say about the Celtics. There's not much to say. You got to win. You got to win this year. You got to hopefully it all comes together. It looks like it's going to. It looks like I like the guys that they have. Let's go win the title.
So the only issue for them, Bucks are going to be tough because of Lillard.
Yeah, but I'll take them over the Bucks. I like their roster.
How about the Heat or the Sixers?
They should beat them. If they can't beat the Heat, they.
Knicks or the Cavs?
I'm not prepared. If they were to lose to the Heat again, or even the Sixers, forget the Sixers. But
how
if they
about
were
the Knicks or the
Heat,
Cavs?
No, they're not there. They like who do the Knicks have that's really going to beat you? Is Brunson really going to beat you?
Cavs are not bad. The Cavs could be a sneaky
yeah, the Celtics struggled them in the regular season last year, but they beat them. Well,
yeah, they got some good young players, a good young mix there, Cavs. And on the Western side, we got the defending champion Denver Nuggets, and I think Phoenix. With a full year of KD, who knows, new coach.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen out there.
The Clippers have the immortal injured trio of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi came up on some of the picks for our kids, but he's not in my top 10. Yeah, and then Lakers. Yeah, what do you think? Give me a quick.
The Lakers, they won't stay healthy enough. But if they do stay healthy, they're a good team. But I don't think they're good enough to win it all.
Don't they have that Reeves kid who's like new? He's going to be all NBA this year.
Yeah, I guess he's all right. But he's not.
He's another one. They play shit. When you play,
he's not as good as the Celtics.
It's like Damian Lillard. I want to see what Damian Lillard do coming from Portland to here. To have to where the real pressure is, not where you have to
Damian Lillard to Austin Reeves.
I know. I was just because I like Damian.
Let's get into the top 10. So you, like 10. You said, you had 11 kids fill it out, and I averaged.
It might have been more than 11. Was it 11?
No, it was 11. I averaged it out. And I'm just gonna first off, I want to explain because there's some interesting kind of trends that came up from this. So in first place, Jokic got 6 first place votes. Giannis got 5 first place votes. Nobody ranked Jokic out of the 11 below 2. Giannis did get ranked 3 and 1, and he got ranked 4 and 1. So Jokic was pretty convincingly the number one, even though he was only one first. He had more first picks. He was ranked first more, and he was ranked second more than Giannis.
Jack, let me just interrupt. Remember, these are kids, sophomore, junior, and seniors in high school making these picks. So.
Yeah, well, you can say that, but the way this came out was very good. Jokic is 1, Giannis is 2. And those two are very close. Then there was a bit of a gap. So it's almost like these came in 4 tiers. There was a little bit of gap between these two.
Okay, gotcha.
The next tier, these two were very close for number 3. It was Embiid ended up being 3rd, and Curry ended up being 4th. Those two were very close. And then there was the next level where there was a bit of a gap between Steph and this group, and it was Tatum was 5th, Durant was 6th, Luka was 7th. They were all very close, those 3, all within, however, if one person ranked Luka here, there, whatever, it would have been different. They were very close. And then the last group, to round it out, we had at 8, 9, and 10. I really do like this list. LeBron, Butler, and Dame, and there was a bit of a gap between Luka and LeBron. And LeBron, Butler, and Dame were all close. And then also close with LeBron, Butler, and Dame was SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder, and Devin Booker. So there were really 12 guys who really were close. And that last group of the 5, Butler, LeBron, Dame, SGA, and Booker were close. And then also receiving votes, Kawhi got a vote or 2, Anthony Davis got a vote or 2, and then Harden and John Morant got 1 vote each. So.
That's because some of these kids are crazy.
Yeah. James Harden.
But I have to give a shout out to my kids who want to talk basketball. They didn't do a bad job in that. So We're looking at
if
4
you get
tiers. He's got 4. I got 4 tiers too. But
if you get the average opinion and just get enough of opinion from somebody to take the average, it's going to end up being all right.
If my kids are listening,
it's democracy.
If my kids are listening, congratulations! You actually did a pretty good job.
Yeah, the only issue is one kid. He actually he didn't list it. He put 1 at the top and then 10,
and he missed a guy.
And it was only 9 players, so he kind of screwed us there.
I got to figure out who that is.
And then the one kid, Luca, from being 7th instead of 5th, one kid totally left him off his list. So I think that if he was put at 6th on the list, he would have been. He would have been above Tatum and Durant.
So you've got you're saying that the Joker and Giannis in their own group, right? Yeah. Okay. And then I still think it's. I don't agree. I think 4 is about right. Yeah. But maybe 3.
What?
Group pairings and tiers.
Well, yeah, because
I think that's about 3 tiers. It's hard because mine's going to be a little bit different than there because I see the world a little differently. So why don't you give me your top 10 then, and we'll give you mine, and then you give me yours, and give me J Trev's, then I'll give you mine, and we'll just do a quick discussion if we have to.
Well, here, let's just go. I'll give you my 3, J Trev's 3, and then you give me your 3. So my top 3, I have Jokic, Giannis, and Curry, and J Trev has the exact same top 3.
And you know what's funny is
you do too.
I do too.
So yeah,
I think one thing that I've noticed with the kids at school is Curry does not get thought of.
He finished. He was almost 3rd.
But when you talk,
they would have the same top 3 as us.
But when you talk to the kids, a lot of kids don't like. It's weird. I mean, because it's averaging out. Curry, I think, gets left out. But we have. I think there's no. I think Joker's got to be 1. Giannis could be. It's got to be 2, and then the next 3 have Curry. The next 4 players in the next 4, I think, can be, or 5 players are almost interchangeable after Curry.
I disagree. I would say
after Curry.
I would say if we're going tiers, Jokic and Giannis are in the first tier, and then I think the next Curry's in the second tier alone. I think he's still a tier above the next. I believe it. I get you.
So the next, I have 4 players in my next tier.
I have.
Yeah, I got 4. I got 4 next tier.
You know what? Screw the tiers. These aren't in tiers.
Okay, who you got?
These are in order. This guy's better than this guy's better than this guy.
Who do you got?
So my next
4, 5, 6, and 7.
I'll go with my. You want me to give my next 4?
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, I have Tatum at 4.
Yeah.
I have Durant at 5.
Yep.
I have Embiid at 6.
Yep.
And I have Jimmy Butler at 7.
Okay, I've got Tatum, Embiid, Doncic, and KD.
Tatum, Embiid, Doncic, and KD. Okay, and J Trev has LeBron at 4.
Oh, J Trev's killing me.
Tatum at 5, Embiid at 6, and Durant at 7. So again, we're pretty similar there. He had LeBron, and I had Butler, and you had Luka. You had Luka, yeah.
I think Luka's the most controversial for me. Yeah. I think he's a great basketball player, no doubt about it. But can he put a team on his back and win?
That's why I have Jimmy Butler up that high.
I have Butler in the next group.
How can I not have Jimmy? He keeps winning. I mean, he just keeps winning.
Right. As much as
maybe his numbers aren't as impressive in the regular season. He doesn't jump off but in the postseason, he's as good as anybody.
Right. As much as he can annoy you, I agree with this. So we are at what number are we at
8,
now?
9, and 10.
So I did Tatum, Embiid, Doncic, and KD. So now my next 3.
Let me go. I'll go J Trev first. J Trev has at 80 as Luka, at 90 as SGA, at 10 he has Damian Lillard. You give yours because mine is very out there.
I've got at 8. I've got James, LeBron James Harden. At 8 I got LeBron. At 9 I got Butler, and at 10 I've waffled here a lot. There's a guy I really want to put on there, but he's probably a year away.
Oh my God!
Which was Edwards, and then if I didn't put Edwards there, I would put Booker.
Yeah, so that's good.
Edwards, I love Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards. I think Anthony Edwards is in the top 10 next year. I struggle. I have him 11th on my list, or 11th or 12th by AD and him. But I'll go James, Butler, and Booker right now.
So I feel bad for you because your whole love of Anthony Edwards and your take of Anthony Edwards will never be your take because at 8 I have Doncic, at 9 I have Anthony Edwards, and at 10 I have Anthony Davis. How about that?
I have Anthony Davis at 11.
So let's just go. Anthony Davis, my thing with Anthony Davis is he beat the Warriors, basically. He was the best player in that series, better than LeBron. He's the guy. If they want to win, he has to be the guy. He has to be better than LeBron. He has to be the one. He'll never stay healthy, but when he's on the court, he's a game changer. Anthony Edwards, it was Bruce Brown, who actually went to Woburn High for a little bit.
Not Woburn,
Wakefield High. Bruce Brown, he said the toughest team in their finals run that they played, the toughest team was the Timberwolves. I think almost all the games were single digits, almost all the losses. Anthony Edwards averaged, I think, 35 points a game against the defending champs. So I think this year he's going to make the leap, and he will be a top 10 player in the league this year.
Karl Anthony Towns?
No, he's
I'm just kidding. I you know what? I had a lot of trouble. I almost put Edwards in.
I did.
I give you credit for it because that's a really good take. Let's look at Jay Lillard. I will state unequivocally, and if we come back a year from now, Jay Trev and Tommy Trev can give me shit. I think Lillard finally figures out that he is a top 20 player, not a top 15 player. He's got to have to step up at some point when they start doubling our good friend Giannis, and he's got to be a man who can share the ball and win. Simple as that.
We'll see what happens.
But I like that. That was good.
He's a good player.
That was a good exercise in bringing the high school kids in as well. So for all my high school kids, if you are listening, give a shout out. You're not coming on the podcast anytime soon, though, but I'll give you a shout.
Yeah, they just made it on.
They all want to come on, though, Jack. It's kind of crazy. Even have some girls who want to come on over. Like I know Amanda wants to come on, and we got to try to get Uncle Joe was just calling me on the phone anyway. We got to get your Uncle Joe on here too. But again, great. I love that we're getting input from everybody. It's awesome to see.
We'll get you the mindset of a triathlete.
We'll get you the mindset of a crazy guy. He knows his athletics. He knows a lot of college basketball. Yeah. He's visited a lot of schools.
Former Division I college coach, too. He coached Temple swimming, I think.
No, he didn't coach them. He swam at Temple.
No, I thought he,
No, he never coached them.
I thought he coached
at a high school swimming school and got me to play on Saucon Valley, which was one of Barkley's top 5 courses.
I think it was his favorite.
Yeah, it was. Shout out to Uncle Joe getting me on Saucon Valley with, I forget the lady's name, got us up there. We were there. Her and her mother and Joe and I actually have a picture of that at home, Jack. I'll have to show you. Okay, to round it out, this has been a great show. I love when we get input from everybody. Round it out, we've decided, Jack and I, that we're going to do a Mount Rushmore top 7 draft of current play-by-play announcers for L Sports. So it's really, like Jack, you said this, it is going to be contingent on what they would be today. So if I want to pick, I'm going to use a guy just off the top of my head, Brent Musburger, who was once time a great announcer. He would be what he is today, an 80-year-old guy who burbles and slobbers all over himself.
And gambles more than Kevin.
Yeah, probably does. So we're going to go, you got a coin?
I thought I brought one. It's not in my back pocket.
So it doesn't matter really who goes first. I don't think, because there's yeah, I did. So you're going to go first.
No, we did the baseball one, and I picked Acuna first. Remember that?
Oh,
so
okay.
You're up.
I'm up.
And do you want a snake or do you want to?
Let's just go opposite, because there's tons. I got 25 guys to choose from.
Yeah, I don't have that many, but.
You have how many, 18? I can see your list. You should hide your list.
You can't. You're looking at me.
Oh, this is
Jay Trev's top teams.
All right, so all right, so I'm going to go number 1. And I'm going to probably go controversial number 1, but because he can call just about any sport.
That's who I had number 1.
And well, you don't know who I'm going to say.
Jim Nantz.
Yeah. And you know what?
I had him 1.
And you know what? Live from the Masters, this is Jim Nantz or whatever it comes as we drive down Magnolia Drive, and he whispers and he does the golf whisper. I'm going to go Nantz 1 only because. I think he can. I think his versatility is good, and whenever he works with a color guy or whatever, to call him a player guy, I think he does a good job. So I'm going to go Nantz number 1 for me.
Yeah, and he's dealt with because Romo's kind of become like a caricature of himself. Look at that word by me. He's kind of been tough to work with recently, and he does a great job with Romo.
Agree with that. And I
don't know if anyone could handle Romo as good as Nantz does.
Yeah, and I just he's just good. He's always
I had him
prepared.
Number 1.
You know what? Funny, and I agree with that. He's always prepared. And the other thing is, nobody ever accuses him of homering for one team or another. Some of these guys, one of my guys on my list would be homered. Who do you got number 1?
Number 1, I'm going to go, I don't know if this is controversial. I had him ranked number 2, Mike Breen.
That's not controversial. He was my next pick.
Yeah, I really like Mike Breen. Great voice for basketball. Calls the Knicks games. He's been working with Clyde Frazier all this time, and I know maybe you'll pick Clyde Frazier. He's a great color guy. I don't know. He's great basketball voice. I hate that they took away his team and they changed up his team. But God, if I were to watch a game, I want if I'm watching a basketball game, I want him calling it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was going to go. I was hoping you would go somewhere like normal, and go with one of the crazies. But I would have gone. I think Breen is phenomenal. He took over in reality the mantle from Marv Albert, who was also phenomenal. But I'm not going to pick Marv Albert anymore. So I got this. My next pick, I'm going to go a little controversial here. I'm going to go with Gus Johnson, Fox. I think that I love the way he calls the game. He brings the excitement of the game. And he doesn't get as much. He did soccer call too, right? So I'm going to go Gus number 2 for me. And there's a million guys. I really think that announcing is all a personal thing. But I go Gus Johnson number 2. There's plenty out there for you to pick from, though, Jack.
I hate Gus Johnson.
I know, that's why I picked him.
Oh my God, I hate him. He thinks he's the star of the show. You're
but
not.
Sometimes you need the star of the show.
Nah, I don't know. He's too full of himself. He goes too hard on the calls. Too hard. You know
all
what?
Right. Who do you got?
So this isn't. I could get him whenever I wanted to, but I got to pick him high because I respect the guy so much. And the World Series is about to start, and we're going to see John Smoltz is going to come on my TV. I just think there's this guy that I've listened to, and he's no longer active, but he could come in tomorrow and be the best announcer in the history of baseball, and I'm going with Dennis Eckersley.
Eckersley's a color guy, though.
We're not doing play-by-plays. I have color guys on here.
I don't have any color. Okay, fine. I don't have any.
He would be the number one. He's my number one pick. He's the greatest announcer in the history of sports. He didn't even get the pitch clock. He used to call the 4-hour-long games, and he'd make those interesting. I just think he was fresh, fine. Everything. There was nobody like him. There really wasn't. There's nobody like him in sports.
Okay.
You have to have color guys. There are some great color guys in sports.
Yeah, I know that. I'm going to go. I'm all Mike. I'm a play-by-play guy.
So you can't pick yourself because you're a color guy.
I'm a play-by-play guy for WCTV boys and girls basketball.
Yeah, but
8 years worth. 8 years worth of me. We can fine. Go on YouTube. Look it up. Okay, that's fine. I
just think he's the best. I
know you love Eck, too. I know you love Eck.
He might have been a bigger loss than Mookie and Xander. Not kidding.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
Get out of town.
He was on my... Mookie had 4 at-bats a game or 5 at-bats a game. Every single pitch, I heard him say something.
We should call Eck and have him go on the show then. How about that?
Luke. A Johnson.
How about
a 3-run Johnson?
Oh my God, he was good. I agree with you.
Yeah. And him and Remy. When I can't pick Remy, I would pick Remy
because he can't come back from the grave.
Even if Remy were alive in any shape, I'd pick him. Him and Remy were so good together.
Okay.
Sorry for talking about Eckersley so long, but that's
okay. So you got Breen and Eckersley. I've got Nance and Mike.
Imagine those two together.
I got Nance, Gus Johnson, and my third pick is the guy I think is the best announcer.
Oh. I can guess all your picks. That's the issue with doing these drafts.
Yeah, you know.
He's a former Red Sox guy,
too. Red Sox guy.
I got it.
He's the greatest. Sean McDonough. I love Sean. And you know what? I know why they got rid of him, and then they brought in his little mimic guy who I think is the most overrated Red Sox announcer ever, Don Orsillo. That's my hot take of the day. But Sean was better than anybody.
I like that.
Don was, again, you talk about Gus Johnson, and Don Orsillo was about talking about. Let's go back to McDonough. He is now the NHL lead NHL announcer for the ESPN. He does college football. He can do baseball. He does baseball here locally on WEI. So I got McDonough third in my list. So
he's a really underrated college football announcer, I think.
Yes,
he's really good at college football. So I'm going to go with the guy, another dude really good at basketball, really good at football. I'm going to go Ian Eagle.
Oh, good pick. I like that pick.
I had Ian Eagle ranked 4th. He was the first one that got the wordplay with blank space in the end zone with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. He's just good. And I think he does the Nets games, and they've not really been an enjoyable team to call the past couple of years with some of those characters.
That's true. So I'm going to go with a guy who's local and national as well. I'm going to go with Dan Schulman, baseball announcer. He does the Blue Jays. He still does the ESPN stuff, right?
He's the best basketball. He's the best college basketball announcer there is. Him and I won't say the guy he's with because actually, not thinking about a color guy, he probably should be picked.
Yeah. Well, no. How about Dave Passion, his color guy?
Yeah. Oh my God! Yes.
There you go.
I forgot about some people.
Him too.
I like Schulman, and he's really good at basketball. Really good.
And he's a great baseball guy. I love him for baseball.
I mean, you don't hear him much for baseball though, because I think he does the radio for the World Series. I think he does the radio call for ESPN, but he does the Blue Jays. You don't hear him that much.
You know who does the radio call? Also, Dave O'Brien, who's on my list. I don't have him picked yet, but he's on the list. Okay, so you got Breen, actually Eagle. Go.
Dave O'Brien's not very popular in this town, so you're one of the few that takes.
I love Dave O'Brien.
I don't love him. I don't think he's bad. I don't think he's great. He's a good announcer.
David Ortiz.
So here's a guy, and this is more. I don't know if they have it anymore. I haven't really seen him much this year. But it's the jingle that goes along with it, and it's the voice, and it's the 3:30 starts, and it's the Alabama, and he replaced Lundqvist, who replaced Musburger. He's a great announcer. He's got a great voice. Brad Nessler.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't think he gets enough credit either for just how good of a voice he is. And he calls the SEC on CBS, but didn't CBS go to the Big Ten now? So But him calling those SEC afternoon games with that, the CBS jingle that comes in, that's one of the best sounds ever.
And he's got Gary Danielson as his color guy. He replaced Vern Lundquist. That tough thing to replace. Nestler's on. I have him listed on.
Is Vern still alive?
Yeah, I think
could
Vern.
He call a game?
No, Vern could. I think Vern still does whole
16. Yeah,
16 of the
because he's the what's the Tiger? I forgot what they called.
Yeah.
The Tiger Woods. What is it?
I forget. On the 16 little chip.
No,
from the corner.
I can't remember what he says. Yeah,
I don't remember either. We'll have to look.
In your life. Yeah, that's what it is. In your life.
Some guys are just great guys. I mean, these guys have done it for a long time, and I give a shout out. I think that's a good pick, Nestler.
I don't think he gets. He's not really.
I'm going to go with.
He talked about that.
I'm going to go with the guy who retired, but I think would still do a great job. And this is really way off the beaten trail. I'm going to go with Mike Emmerich, who I thought was the greatest NHL announcer that ever lived. Was Doc Emmerich.
Yeah, I was thinking him too.
I'm going to go with Doc Emmerich.
That's a really good pick.
So I'm going Doc because I think that it's fun to have two hockey announcers on my list.
McDonough's more than just hockey. Like Doc Emmerich's a hockey. He's hockey.
Hockey was a great hockey announcer, no doubt about it.
So again, I know you're not going to like this, but I'm going to go with another color guy, and we didn't talk about him talking about the Celtics, but I'm happy he's here, and it is a disgrace that he was fired from ESPN. Jeff Van Gundy. He's another one where he's so unique. It's a different style than Eckersley, but it's a style that he's kind of bitter and kind of comes. It's like he perfects the grumpy old man without being like too grumpy old man. It's kind of funny the way he comes off.
Right.
And I just think he's great. And he tells it like it is, and he is perfect. I have no idea why they got rid of him. Because he criticized refs too much?
Yeah, I think they wanted to, because they get weirdos. They're weirdos.
Now we get Doc Rivers and Doris Burke taking his job.
I can't wait for that.
They screwed Mike Breen.
You know what's funny?
Him.
I agree with you, but Doris Burke, she comes over the top, but she does a good job. I'm going to go very, very controversial because now we're going with color guys. I'm taking my all-time favorite color guy that ever lived, played for the Celtics. He's crazy. He's Bill Walton.
Oh, God. Okay, yeah.
Who did you think I was going to say?
I thought you were about to say Tommy Heinsohn.
He's a dead man.
Again, if Tommy Heinsohn were alive, he'd be picked very high
I'm going Billy Walton, number 6, because I love him, and since you changed the rules.
Him and Jerry Remy are calling, those two of the best. We were lucky in Boston.
I'll tell you something. Boston's been very lucky overall with great announcers. Patriots always had like Gil Santos. The Red Sox had Ned Martin, Jim Woods, Joe Castiglione, Ken Coleman, the guys all over. We had McDonough. We had the overrated Orsillo. That's why everybody doesn't like O'Brien. But yeah, I'm going to go Walton. If I'm going to stick, just to go back through this, if I'm sticking with just true play-by-play guys, I'd go with John Miller, who used to call ESPN games, is out in San Francisco now, getting older. But I'll do Walton in that spot.
How many have we picked? 4?
You're at 5.
I've already picked 5.
Breen, Eckersley, Eagle, Nestler, Van Gundy.
All right, so I'm going to go with a guy, and this sucks because he left. Sorry about this. He left the job that he had where you heard him all the time, and now he's on a job where I don't really watch that much Monday Night Football, and if I do, I tend to watch like the Manning cast here and there, and then switch on with whatever else is on. But I think Joe Buck's a great announcer. He has a big game voice more than almost anyone. It was like when your baseball team was playing, he was calling the game. It was like you knew it was a big game, and he had some great. You look back, great calls in the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry at 03 and 04. He did a great job with Boone's home run. He did a great job with Ortiz's moments. He did a great job back then, and he's had obviously many more calls after that. And I think he got a lot of. He went through a period where he got a ton of hate and everyone hated him, and now I think it's came back where people think everyone agrees he's a good announcer.
I think with Joe Buck, I definitely agree with you on that. And you know what's funny about him? I never thought, because he called 2 Red Sox Cardinal World Series, right? And he's a Cardinal guy up through because of his dad. I never thought he was a homer. I think it was always who his companions were.
His partner was a Cardinal, right? Big time Cardinal, right?
He had McCarver and he had Sean Smoltz.
McCarver was a homer. Oh. I thought he was a big time homer.
But McCarver actually played for the 75 World Series Red Sox.
Well, that's good for McCarver. Yeah, no, Buck's a good announcer, real good announcer.
All right, so you took Joe Buck, so I got one more pick. This pick is just to annoy my son. Here, I asked you a question last night. Who was the Spanish announcer who started saying,
"Oh, this is a terrible pick"?
It is?
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
I don't even know who that is.
I do. It's Andres Cantor, but I'm not.
You had to look that up. Nobody even.
I had to look that up.
Yeah, pick him.
I'm not going to pick him.
You get like Jim Nance. Who else?
I'm not gonna
Sean McDonough, Dan Shulman, and then blah blah blah.
I can't pick Bob Costas. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go just again back to a guy who does a lot of. He does football and does golf as well. I'm going with Mike Tirico. I like Mike Tirico. Does the Sunday night games. He really transitioned to take Al Michaels' job in Sunday Night Football. And I think he's the versatility. He is not, as much as Gus Johnson is the show, Mike Tirico is not the show. But I'm going to Tirico number 7.
And you mentioned Costas, and there's another guy, and who'd you pick? Gus Johnson. And I forgot to say this about Joe Buck. Joe Buck's like the he's not obsessed with the moment and getting his words out.
I agree.
Like those guys are. Joe Buck really lets the moment and the crowd and all that play for itself.
But sometimes you need to make a call. Sometimes, I know. You need, like in the 92 or 93 World Series, Sean McDonough's call about Joe, touch them all. You'll never have a moment like this when he beat the Phillies on a walk-off to win the World Series. Sometimes you want, even Joe Buck, David Ortiz home run, we'll see you tomorrow night, or see you tonight. We'll see you later today.
And then Aaron Boone, this one's going to send the Yankees to the World Series, and then he just shut up. Yeah. Gus Johnson be screaming for 2 minutes.
He might be. I agree. Again, Buck is up there. Okay, you got one more pick. Might as well take one of your soccer guys because that's where you want to go.
No, I do not want to go with a soccer. I have to go with a guy that he's one of the funny. He's provided, at least in the recent years, some of the funniest moments I've ever seen from a commentator. He's the last of a dying breed. He's been doing it forever. I wish I lived in New York to hear him more. But
you got Michael Kay?
I'm going John Sterling.
John Sterling, not Michael Kay?
Nothing like John Sterling. Was it this year or last year he got hit in the head by the baseball? The foul ball, it's coming up. Oh, it hit me. And then obviously the best is the wild card game where he's at the ballpark. He is at the ballpark and Stanton hits the ball to left field off the wall, and he's calling it. He's rounding second base, and he's standing on first base, and then he looks back. Oh, what did I miss? He's on first base. But he doesn't just mess up. He's got a great voice.
Yes,
and,
he does.
If you do listen to him, he's been calling it for years. And like I said, last of a dying breed. And I want to give him some respect and pick him.
And the Yankees win.
Yeah, the
Yankees win. I hate that call. But okay, you're right. Okay, so Jack, you had Mike Breen, Dennis Eckersley, Ian Eagle, Brad Nessler, Jeff Van Gundy, Joe Buck, John Sterling.
I like that group.
I had Nance, Tirico, Gus Johnson, not in order, Sean McDonough, Dan Schulman, John Miller, Mike Emmerich, and Bill Walton, because I had to have Walton. That's a good conversation. Next time, at some point, we could go to all-time announcers. The only one that I missed was me at WCTV,
That's a
which
good point,
I thought you would have picked. And there's some great announcers internationally, which we just don't know, and I know you know. Why don't you give me one shout-out to a soccer announcer?
No.
No?
I like Clive Tisdale, whatever. He's been calling forever. He's got just a really good voice. But the soccer announcer I would shout out went to Live Golf, so screw him. I'm not going to shout him out.
Oh, you could have. That's
and then,
fine.
like, color guys, there's like Lee Dixon reminds me a lot of Jeff Van Gundy and the bitterness and all that, and I like that style. And then, like, Gary Neville's another good one, so those guys. And then another, like, Kirk Herbstreit, great color guy.
Horrible NFL guy, though. I don't like him on Thursdays.
He's kind of screwed with the guy that hit
Al Michaels.
Al Michaels is quit. Like Al Michaels, if we're drafting all-time announcers, Al Michaels is a top 5 pick.
Yes,
if you're drafting right now, because Al Michaels just mailed it in. I had Herbstreit, Collinsworth.
Yeah, I
think Collinsworth is good, and then Mike Gorman. One of the
guys I think we missed was Kevin Harlan's a great announcer, and another.
What about Burkhart? You like Burkhart?
I have him on the list right here. Joe Davis, Burkhart, Harlan, still a little bit young. Davis is young. I'm not a big fan. Gary Cohen and Brian Anderson does TNT games for NFL for major baseball rather. Excuse me. And I had Carl Ravitch, another one. Ravitch and Fowler, who are ESPN football guys.
I got one that I don't know how we missed this. Jack Edwards. Awesome.
Oh, my God.
Just awesome. You talk about a homer. Awesome.
In the and Johnny Most. In the pantheon of Boston announcers.
Jack Edwards can call a game right now. I love Jack Edwards.
He's
great.
So you know what? We went a little bit long today, so I thank all our listeners for hanging in with us here. We had some great subjects. Thanks to Kevin for calling and Kevin O'Donnell. Thanks for Justin Trevisani for getting our stuff in. Thanks to all my guys in my school who filled in my top 10. Thanks for Jack. We had a great week.
Thanks to Leone's and and the Brown Jug. Give us some free pizzas.
There we go. Jack's trying to get some free food. So for Jack Boyle, I'm Jim Boyle. For It All Boils Down to This, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on down the road. Thanks for listening to this episode of It All Boils Down to This, recorded at WCTV studios in our hometown of Wilmington, Massachusetts. We are always open to any ideas, critiques, topics, and guests, So if anyone out there in podcast world needs to get a hold of us, we can be reached via email at jboyle22@comcast.net. Along with Jack Boyle, I'm Jim Boyle. Make sure to tune in to the next edition of It All Boils Down to This.